All right, hello. We'll go ahead and get started. Can you close the door for me? Last one, close the door. Thank you. Oh, good turnout, y'all. Thank you. My name's Micah Krichinsky, owner, founder, brewer of Strangebird in Rochester. Also the chair of the conference committee for this year's conference, and on the board for the New York State Brewers Association. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm not up here alone. I have a panel with me. First, Garrett Meakin from Utica, New York, where Grow is quickly taking market share from Matt Brewing. He's well known for hop-forward beers and everything else. Garrett and his wife and co-founder Alana, who's a force, are super knowledgeable about our industry and how to bust out in it with style. Garrett can ferment an IPA faster than you, just know that. Sam Richardson joins us from a small brewery located somewhere downstate. He's co-founder and the brewing brains behind the OtherHalf Kingdom, and this buys more hops than all of us combined. Please pay close attention to his passion for hops. He has a love for hops that I've seldom seen. He takes his time and cares deeply about selection, and he's a man that knows what he wants. Heather McReynolds, over 15 years experience in the beer industry. Has held numerous roles. She first fell in love with beer while bartending and managing a 400 bottle beer bar during graduate school in Florida, Boo Gators. She started her brewing career in Georgia, also Boo Dogs, before moving to New York City 13 years ago to brew and later oversee 6 Point Brewery's pilot facility in Red Hook, Brooklyn. For 5 years, she worked with Guinness, focusing on beer education and social media marketing. For the past 4.5 years, she has been with Hopstiener, a family-owned, vertically integrated hop grower and merchant established in 1845. Just a baby. Okay. All right, so we'll get started. I'm going to rush through this. I want to make sure we get to smell some hops, rub some hops later. So just quickly, can I get a raise of hands? How many folks have been to a hop yard in New York to select their hops? Cool. All right, about half. That's great. And anybody been to the Pacific Northwest? Awesome. Okay, maybe 10%. Anybody been Southern Hemisphere? Awesome, that's cool. Cool. So by the end of this talk, I want you guys to feel comfortable and empowered to go select your own hops. And even if it's for one beer, this harvest season, August, September, we're going to have a little selection today. I said Heather's gonna put some hops on the table so you guys can get a rep in before harvest. Okay, so breweries, dedicated to producing standout IPAs, so selection of hops is critically important. It can shape the character and quality of your final product. It's definitely possible. You guys done it, we've all done it, ordered hops blindly through a retailer. It's just, it's not the best practice. Would love to choose our hops in person. The hands-on approach enhances the quality of your beer, and it opens the door to meaningful connections within your region and beyond. New York, we are very special here. We are located in a prime location for selecting hops, well within the hop growing region, and there's several hop yards around the state, and pretty much we all can get to it and back to our breweries in one day. So that's a gift. Not everybody has that. So we're already starting ahead. When you do go to a farm, you are meeting a farmer face to face. You're fostering a relationship. That dialogue is invaluable. Your direct contact with the farmer can dictate what the farmer does when they harvest. That you have a lot of control. And also like farmers that grow hops in New York love beer. So they love you. They love brewers. So please go get out there. Go get out there and talk to them. Also, within New York, when you're selecting in New York, you are shortening the supply chain. This is maybe the most significant benefit from selecting in person here in New York. You're eliminating intermediaries and can directly obtain hops from growers, ensuring a quicker turnaround. And it's pretty cool. You bring the hops back in your car, and your car smells like hops for a week. It's great. Great, and we have the New York Hop Guild who can help you find a farm if you need help finding a farm. You guys probably know the closest farm. Hopefully you know the closest farm near you. Please reach out to them and get out there. I don't have to tell you, camaraderie and collaboration is a big part of what we do. Selecting hops is a great opportunity to do a collab, meet at a hop yard with another brewer, design a beer together, and based on the hops that you're selecting that day. In addition to working with New York State hops, we could be utilizing, if you're gonna just do New York hops all alone, go on, girl. That is great. But there are large hop brokers that have just a lot of data. And we buy their hops anyway, to the most part. We all buy their hops, statistically speaking, and they have just a lot of data to give you. And that data can help you drive consistency from year to year. So please, we're paying for it anyway because we're buying hops from them. Just reach out to your rep, reach out to get data, start getting looking at radar charts, just looking at lots. Become familiar with what the charts do in practice in your brew house. And just another note about the people that work at the big hop broker houses are super knowledgeable. They have scientists there. We all know a lot about hops and what hops can do in our brewery, but that's just an added benefit. And we're paying for it anyway, guys. Okay, so that's all I have. This is just a quick picture about where to put hops. If you're getting fresh hops, you all have lauter tons, presumably. That can also act as a hop bag, so please just fill it up with hops, as we do every harvest season. So please get out there. Feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Hop Guild, local, your neighbor brewers, and start selecting in New York. I'm gonna throw it to Garrett now.
Can I jump in real quick on wet hops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So one of the cool things about getting hops locally from New York State is, like he was pointing out, you can literally go get them from the yard and then take them to your brewery that day. I want more people to really be thinking about wet hop beers in that way. I can ship you hops from Yakima, fine, but it's such a pain in the ass logistically. It costs so much money, and God forbid, FedEx has fucked me up lately a lot, but they fuck up your hops and then all of a sudden your wet hops arrive 2 days later and they've got mold all over them, right? That blows, right? You've got way more control over that. You're in direct communication. You can literally drive there if you go get them from a New York farm. I think it's also a really great way to support those farmers, right? They're getting them off the vine. They're getting money in their pocket. They don't have to worry about drying, pelletizing, storing, and then trying to sell those hops in the future. And then I do truly believe, from the industry as a whole, that side of it, if we can get more consumers interested in wet hop beers, it goes a long way for all of us. Well, maybe it helps me sell more hops in the future too, but it goes a long way for all of us, right? Wouldn't it be great to see wet hop beers, people excited about wet hop beers, just like they're getting excited about Oktoberfest beers. I'd like to see that happen, and I'd love to see that tie to New York specifically. So something to think about. And yeah, obviously Micah's brewed with wet hops. I know Jason Saylor at Strong Rope brewed with wet hops. Other people talk to the other brewers who've done it.
Every year we make a wet hop beer. It's a distinct flavor. I love it. I love brewing really during harvest season, utilizing the fresh hops. Just the dialogue with the farmer is really valuable. The big hop brokers sell wet hops. They're not for you. They're for people who don't have hop yards around them. Okay, so please reach out. Some of our hops are just as good as anything you're gonna find in the Pacific Northwest. It's just our proximity to them. We should really be utilizing them, especially these wet hops. The wet hops is probably the lowest hanging fruit for us to be utilizing. So it's easy. Just go pick them up the day you're brewing. drop them in the lauter ton after you run off, and then just like send the work right back onto it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. If you want any more info, happy to walk you through it. But yeah, all right. On to Garrett Meakin.
Cool. Thank you, Micah. Thanks for having me here. I did a lot of the things. So I'm a novice hop selector, I would say. I've only been to 3 hop selections out in the Pacific Northwest. Selected a few hops in New York State. But it completely changed our game and changed how we actually did business. When we started, I was buying everything on spot. And I had certain lots that I really liked. Stuff just ended up coming out of stock, doing everything that happens when everyone's in busy production season. So we were kind of limited to all the hops that we could possibly get on spot. And it changed us from actually having a flagship beer to, all right, we're going to be constantly rotating our brands, which totally changed the landscape of our entire business. So primarily for us, it became, we really need to lock down our supply chain. We got to make sure that we're first to select, we get the stuff that we want to get, and it's representing the brands that we want to get going forward. That was kind of the preface. That's why we went out to Pacific Northwest to be able to do it. When you got out there, now you're actually making relationships with farmers. It kind of changed the entire thinking about it. Obviously, you go out there and we're looking for the best hops we want. We're trying to get specific things for particular brands. But at the same time, making those relationships at the front end instead of just over the bar gave us a story to kind of give back to the brand that we were actually trying to build from the front end. So that became a huge part for us. And then also now we have relationships with these farmers where, hey, there's a fire out on Mount Rainier. Is there a problem with smoke taint, whatever? I can shoot a text to these guys and see what's going on. And things to at least look for going forward into hop selection come harvest time in the fall. And then lastly, I think for us, it really became Creative Spark. So I went out there and I was like, I'm selecting Citra, Mosaic, Simcoe, like, everyone does. We're going to get these hops, that's going to be this specific thing, but you're so inundated with data when you get out there. There's so much trial of new products, of whether it be new hop varietals or just how they're actually producing them in extracts and in cryo versions or whatever they're calling their version of that, those products, that you kind of have this creative spark. You're forced to go through and try these different things, and it actually for us anyway, it changed our mindset to what we were going to be producing going forward. So in the year since, I can't tell you, we've gone for 3 years now, and third year, so very novice hop selector, unlike Sam here, who will speak next. But it really has taken it from this is what we want to this is what we could be. And I think that's so important to our industry and how we're kind of evolving now, that it just becomes, really intrinsic to what we can do. And it's not the kind of thing where you need to be producing 40,000 barrels a year. I do less than 1,000 barrels a year. There is groups, you just got to make those relationships with your hop providers, with the farms, whatever, to be able to get out there and really, have a voice in the whole thing. But yeah.
Cool. Okay, thanks, Garrett. So when you're selecting, are you emphasizing finding the best available hop, or are you selecting for consistency from year to year?
When we started, it was consistency. But as you guys all know, hops are an agricultural product too. You can have an oil profile and look at the spike graph and this is what it's supposed to be, and then you do the rub down, and it doesn't actually represent what that was. So you really gotta know that things are gonna evolve and change a little bit. I still try and keep it so it's consistency, but now as I'm doing rubs, I'm actually kind of trying to open up what could this be used for. So it becomes, maybe I'm only selecting part of a certain lot, and I'm gonna select another lot for this specific beer, and it just changes your portfolio that way, right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Sam, you want to come up here and just...
No.
I got it.
I'm happy where I'm seated.
Yeah.
I think you would like me to talk about selecting across different parts of the world. But I also wanted to just kind of echo what Garrett was saying. I think one thing people should keep in mind is this is the single ingredient that differentiates your beer the most. Because yeast strains, you can all get the same yeast strains. Malt is blended commodity product. This is really the one thing that has the biggest impact that you can pick. And I think a lot of times brewers think that they can't do it. They don't have the access, but you have to start somewhere. And usually that's building relationships and showing some commitment, going to your local farm, talking to them, even though it can be cost prohibitive, going out to Yakima and seeing what that is. It's very different if you were to be at a New York farm versus one in Yakima. It's like David and Goliath. It's extremely different experience. In fact, even going to hop farms in the rest of the world are completely different than what you'll experience in Yakima. And I think it's a learning experience that even if you're not out there every year, doing it once will completely change your perspective on what you're doing with your craft beer. So I think with that in mind, I would start out with Yakima. We're all, that's probably, well, I'm sorry, let's take a step back. Let's start with New York. If you're a small grower, I highly recommend visiting a New York farm. There's not enough hops grown in New York to support all of our beer production, so obviously everybody's buying from Yakima as well, but low-hanging fruit is getting out to visit a farm here. It is much more accessible in terms of getting into the field and experiencing what a hop rub in a field is like versus doing a dried hop on the table. But yeah, once you get to Yakima, you'll see it's typical lot size. To give you perspective, typical lot size in Yakima for a variety like Citra can be 20 to 50,000 pounds. We do Nectaron selection, which I think everybody thinks like, oh, Nectaron, that's such a high pop. Those are 3,000 pound lots. It's just like the vast difference in size of these farms is, it's intense. So part of like the selection process is not just what you're, the experience is more forced upon you, right? Like if you're buying large quantities of Citra, you could easily buy, I think probably everybody in this room could share a giant 50,000 pound lot. Maybe not, maybe a couple lots, but whereas if you're buying local, you are creating something that differentiates what you're producing, because lots can be so different of hops. Like the thing is, what you see when you go to a hop farm, if you go at the beginning of September versus the end, or even a week-long period of a certain variety, or it can be completely different hops. So you don't really understand that until you're experiencing it firsthand. Like if you're just buying hops direct from a broker without any questions asked, it's Citra, but what you got versus your neighbor when you're ordering Citra can be completely different. Is it what you want? I think the thing to look for with these larger varieties when you're selecting, especially if you're small, ask your friends. What did they get? Do they like it? What's the lot number? Like you have to be a little proactive. You have to find, if you're not able to do selection because you're a small brewery, ask questions, reach out. I don't recommend going straight to the broker and doing that because they're busy, but that's something after you've maybe established some relationships with them. But reach out to people you know that you thought their lot was great. That's like a way to do selection without actually going to Yakima. Yeah. Once you get outside of Yakima, which I think is hard to do because New Zealand's very far away, and for most people not worthwhile, it's a little easier because the lot sizes are tiny. Yeah.
Great.
What's it like selecting in New Zealand? Like, what's the experience like? You're going and you're on a table, or like, how's it work there?
Yes, it's similar to Yakima, like what we're going to do here. I think the biggest difference is there's nobody there. I mean, it's, yeah, I think
The tacos aren't as good.
the tacos are not as good. Yeah, the tacos are not, the ham pies are good, the tacos are not as good. Don't recommend New Zealand tacos. But, yeah, so the thing is, like, the reason I say don't reach out to your broker directly in Yakima to try to negotiate a box is that there's a lot of breweries that want to do that. You have to build a relationship first. That's why I'm saying reach out to a friend and ask that question. Yakima during selection is inundated. New Zealand during selection, like a lot of the New Zealand, let's just say they have a very unique hop profile for all their varieties. And a lot of the New Zealand brewers don't even bother to go to selection there. And it's a small place. I mean, it's not hard to get around New Zealand. So, we get there and there's a few Australian breweries, some New Zealand breweries, the occasional Americans from the West Coast. But, for us, it's super important because we're building those relationships, showing up, showing that we're interested in what they're doing, seeing experimental varieties, showing our commitment to what they're doing. And again, that's across all growing regions, showing up in Yakima, even as busy as they are, and just being respectful, asking questions, make the relationship before you start demanding stuff. But it pays off. And like I said, this is the greatest differentiator for your beer, whether you make a lager, an IPA, it doesn't matter. That is the one thing, whether you pick early Citra, late Citra, you're buying Hallertau, like there's a huge breadth of difference between the hops grown on the same farm, hops grown in different regions, Oregon versus Washington, Michigan, they're all different. And I think first finding out what you like, and then, selection is a very learned process. Like Garrett was referencing being a novice at 3 years. Like I still feel somewhat like a novice because every year is different. There's new varieties to learn. And it's something where you just continually have to learn because you're going an entire year before you have to think back like, oh, what did we rub on the table last year? And notes only do so much for your memory on that. So it's a repetition thing. The more you're involved in it, the more you learn what you like, the more you understand what you don't like, what's good for your beers. You have to have patience, but I can only speak for our brewery. I think it's been, our commitment to that has been one of our greatest assets. So
When did you start going to Pacific Northwest to select? How old was OtherHalf when you started?
I think if I remember correctly, the first year we went out was the second year we were open. We weren't going out to select large quantities of hops. I don't remember being invited to a lot of places. But it's more about just being present, showing the commitment. We also went out the second year. We went twice. We went April. But the point of going in April was to see the trellising in action, talk to farmers when they weren't busy with other brewers, just to see what they were doing and understand their processes. Like this, it's an important product for us, so we wanted to learn as much as we could about the process so we could be knowledgeable, especially since we're a hop forward brewery. And then, we just kept building from there. And, I think a big part of our success is creating those relationships because we were able to, I think, get better and better hops every year. And that's how you make better beer. So
what's it like in South America?
Very, very small. You think New Zealand is small. Like New Zealand is about 1% of the global hop market, which they have reputationally, they have a huge outsized reputation for the amount of hops they grow. Yeah, Argentina is much smaller. It's very much just, again, this was a trip. Just for me, it's always been important just to fully understand everything that's happening. And every region is so different. They had Willamettes that were 14 alpha. So just constantly trying to learn. It's also very beautiful there.
Beautiful. Wow. Cool. Thanks, Sam.
Indeed.
Heather, you want to come up and give a take the controls?
Sure. Hey, yeah, I really just kind of wanted to run through like what it actually looks like when you go select, at least what it's like at the Hopstiener. Yeah, just give you guys an idea what it's like to be out there. So Hopsteiner's in Yakima. We have 4 different hop ranches. We grow about 4,000 acres. We actually grow any given year roughly like 50-60% of the American hops that we sell. The rest we get from other growers in the Pacific Northwest. So if you came out and you selected with me, we definitely go to a farm. It's an awesome farm tour, seeing hops in the field too. There's Mount Rainier right there, pretty gorgeous out there. Seeing combines in action. So we do a lot of combine hop harvesting. Instead of the traditional where the hops stay on the vine and then get transported to the cleaning facility, we do a lot of the pre-processing in the field. So it's just the leaves and the hops that are shipped to the facilities. But seeing that in action is really cool too, especially the people that are working really long hours to make that happen. Again, more combines. You can see the red truck at the back. That's where all of the hops and leaves are going into, and that truck is the one that's going to go to the facility. But then this is where the trucks are unloaded. This is just one of our 4 cleaning facilities. So it's little like Willy Wonka, but for hops. Like it's all of these. So there's like dribble belts. Those are the ones, I wish I had a clicker. Those are the ones kind of in the middle there. They're at an angle so that the leaves stick to it, the hops dribble down. But it's like, it's that Rube Goldberg machine. That's what it is. It feels a little like that in there. Like it's pretty wild. It's actually it can be really loud too. I mean, you've got earplugs in, you got hard hats in. But then going to the kiln is really cool. Yeah, these things are massive, right? This is not quite football field size, but the hops are in there for 10, 12 hours, depending on the variety, depending on, what the outside ambient conditions are, but that's where they're gonna be dried. Moved on to the conditioning floor, so they'll condition for about 24 hours before they get put into bales. And yeah, seeing all this process in person is incredibly cool. But to echo what we've been saying the whole time, like you can see some semblance of this too, obviously on a much smaller scale, if you go visit a farm in New York. I guess the way to think about it too is like, we're a commercial hop growing operation, right? The guys that are growing hops here in New York, obviously it's their business, but it's a small business, right? This might be a really bad sounding analogy, but like Anheuser-Busch producing hops kind of thing. Like that's the scale. It's a massive scale, right? We need to make, beautiful hops that we can process consistently. Whereas think about like somebody brewing on a 3-barrel system, right? Like that's kind of the scale that hop growers in New York are working at. Then, after the baling, hops go into the warehouses. These are massive frozen warehouses that are taking in massive amount of hops, and when they unload the trucks coming in, you have all these like fork trucks just driving around like crazy. Really cool. Then I love taking people to the pellet plant. So this usually for us starts running like mid-September, if you come by around that time. So right in the middle, you see those are literally bales, right? Those are 200-pound bales that are going into the bale breaker to start the process to turn them into pellets. It's incredibly cool to see, especially like the efficiencies that they're working towards every year. It's just like in your breweries where you're working towards continuous improvement. That's literally what they're doing here when they're making pellets also. And then I always love taking people to what we call HECA, so Hop Extract Corporation. This is where we make extracts that later get turned into all the downstream products, all the oils and things like that. It isn't as visual as like going to the pellet plant and seeing that, because you're talking about hop pellets going into, you know, those yellow tubes that are, the extractor vessels are literally like 2 stories tall. But it's incredibly sciencey, incredibly cool when you get to see it in person. So then when you actually do go get to select, these are actually pictures from our selection rooms. The vibe is very much like, welcome to our house. What can I get you? What do you need? We try to make sure that we're providing everything you need right there, right? So there's definitely beer and seltzer if you want something to drink, right? I will sometimes bring a speaker and play music. People want to listen to music. Some people like to be quiet in there. That's cool too, but it is your own space. And, you know, I'm happy to get you whatever you need in that time that you're there, you know, notepads, taking notes, snacks, coffee beans if you need to clear out your nose kind of thing. But yeah, so you're gonna look at your lots, but then we also typically will put experimental lots in front of people too, because we're literally just getting that feedback, and that's gonna inform, you know, what we're gonna do with those experimental varieties in the future too. So then, hopefully you can, that looks a little bit small. Hopefully you can see that all right. I don't know how to make that big. I'll walk you through it a little bit. So this is literally a hop selection sheet. So this is what you would get, you know, when you're selecting your lots. Up at the top, this is Holiday Brewing. They're in Colorado. So they've got Cascade, and we've got 3 lots for them because they contracted. I can't see that here. Oh God, somewhere around 1,500 pounds. Cascade, and then there's Centennial in there too, a little bit smaller of an amount. It looks like 528 pounds of Centennial. So then the far right, it's got the sample numbers, and those aren't connected to lots. Those are literally just made up numbers. We want to make this a blind process for you. We're going to keep the data on what you're selecting year over year, you know, what farms these are coming from. And we also give that feedback back to the farmers, right? I mentioned we grow a lot of the hops that we sell, but sometimes, you know, we're pulling it in from other growers as well. So like, you know, there could be, you know, Cascade lots, and maybe one of them was grown in Steiner, but maybe one of them came from Oregon, and we're going to put it in front of you, and, you know, maybe you like that one from Oregon. I don't know, but that'll also help us inform, like, what should we put in front of you next year? It is also too, like, what's literally available at that time, right? Depending on when you come to Yakima, you know, Cascades are harvested earlier in the month of September. If you come Labor Day, I probably don't have any Cascades to show you right now. If you come at the end of the month, I have much more. We've probably gotten in all of those hops from, say, like Idaho or Oregon. So I have more lots to offer you. A lot of people usually come at the end of September for that reason. But, you know, I think Sam would agree, like, it is really nice to come earlier in the month to see the hops in the field, get some early kind of feel for what's happening out there. So then got the samples, you know, it also says how many bales, right? We need a certain amount of bales to make your pellets, right? But then breaking down like the alpha, beta, oil, seed, leaf stem, right? Those should probably be as close to 0 as possible. You don't want seeds and leaf in your pellets. But if there is a little bit more than normal, like typically 1% might show up, but it's fine. But you're seeing all that information there, right? If you're thinking about how you're going to use this hop, right? Does alpha play a consideration in that? Like, sure, if you're just selecting for alpha, do you want the highest alpha hop? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't care that much. Maybe you don't even want to rub them. Maybe you just want the highest alpha. Maybe if it is something like Cascade and Centennial, where you're more going to use them for flavor, maybe it's the opposite, right? Like maybe you want the lowest alpha, and then it turns out that is giving you what you want to. So all of that information is in front of you, but it's pretty blind in that way too. The other thing I'll say too, that's really important, because I do want selection to feel accessible, and I love Sam's idea of like, if you smell, you know, pellets from somebody else that you like, you know, get that lot number from them and then reach out to that supplier. I think because, well, frankly, there's the way that the U.S. beer industry is shaping up, right? There's a ton of very, very small brewers that are producing a lot of beer collectively. As brokers, as suppliers, as growers, like we want to support that as best we can. Contracts are also really important to us, right? It signals that we need to put something in the ground or not, right? So I think all of us collectively are trying our best to make it really accessible for people to select their hops. And I know at Steiner, our selection minimum has always been 220 pounds per variety. I also really liked Micah's point too about like, oh, wait, you didn't say that here, but it came up in conversation earlier. 220 pounds, depending on what you're using, depending on your size, right? That could be a lot for you. I don't know, but like, do you come select and like that's 2 years worth of hops? That's feasible, right? Like, just talk to me about that. If that's your plan for using those hops, I'll make sure I write that into the contract and like get it so that it works out for you financially, right?
I'll just say to piggyback on that.
Yeah.
Just the packaging has gotten so much better over the past decade. So we're really in a place where you could theoretically go out every other year, if that's how you need to make it work at your brewery. So that please consider that as an option.
Yeah, for sure. And we do selection for 220 pounds. So we also started doing remote selection, right? So people can't always come out there, but I still want to give people that opportunity. I think I gave you that option, but you were like, no, I'm going to come. So I was like, yeah, heck yeah, let's go. Same thing with others, right? Like John was like, yeah, I'm going to be there. All right, let's go. Let's select. But I've had other people take me up on, yeah, I want to do it in my space and with my people. Is that another opportunity to play around with like, when I do remote selection, like you're literally getting leaf cuts just like this. Is that an opportunity to play around with like putting them in some wort or putting them in a finished beer and seeing how you like it? I don't know. I mean, if that helps you select, if that feels good, think about that. But ask your suppliers about what's on the table and what's available to you as far as those options. But yeah, we're happy to have a conversation with you if that's important to you. And that being said, was there anything else to finish up on before rubbing some hops?
No, I think while we're rubbing hops, we should probably do question and answers during rubs so we can kind of like be more efficient.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to get set up?
Yeah, so I've got, how many hops do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 different hops arranged pretty much like, again, if you've never really done a hop rub before, just like with drinking beer, right? You want to go from like lowest impact, lowest alpha to like higher impact, higher alpha. So I have them arranged that way too. So you probably want to go in that order. But I guess maybe like, I don't know how we want to bring people up to do this, but like,
Why don't we start in the front here?
yeah.
And then just come over here.
Open a jar, get in there, get your hands dirty, and then there's wipes right here, so you can get clean again at the end.
So we'll take a small amount, though there's a lot of people.
Yeah, I have more.
Never mind.
Yeah. So I'll run through these real quick so that you guys know. But Contessa is the first one on the end. These are all American hops, by the way. Contessa is really nice, noble-esque, like low alpha, 2 to 4%. Really nice lager hop. Really nice green tea note to it too. Pretty fun. Delta's been around for a while, but I love that it's getting a little bit of a resurgence because it also does really well in lagers too. Again, domestic, but it was originally bred to be like a Willamette replacement. So a little bit of a spicy, saucier type note to that one. Then Allura has been really cool for us lately. Garrett likes it. Peachy, apricot notes, really fun for IPAs. Double IPAs, pale ales. We have a pale ale on from Druthers. But also really fun for lagers if you're doing like a non-traditional lager. Yeah, Erebus does a interesting like blueberry fruit candy kind of drive to it. Again, really nice IPAs, pale ales, double IPAs. Really high frethiols, really big in geraniol, super cool. And then Eureka. So Eureka is super, super dank. A lot of people say that it's an excellent sub for Simcoe, but it's super, super affordable too. I'm sorry? The Eureka's on the end. Eureka. Super dank. I love Eureka for a West Coast IPA. That's what I got. I guess since Micah's directing traffic, like, you guys got questions?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So you talk about lot sizes as far as them being very different from Yakima and New York and New Zealand. What exactly determines the lot? Is it just farm, like harvesting, geography?
It's
What can you expect as far as
It's throughput. Like how quickly can they pick and dry the hops? So that dictates it.
Do you expect like it to be homogeneous throughout the lot? I mean, obviously that would be the goal, but inexperienced.
Barely. It's, the thing is like I was mentioning it earlier. When you look at, let's say you go to a particular farm and they're harvesting mosaic for 5 days, what they pick at the beginning of that pick window, what they pick at the end are going to be different. Because it's a plant. It ripens. Usually, for most varieties, especially grown in the Pacific Northwest, they're going to start out grassier in the beginning, and what you're going to see at the end is much more, so more OG, especially like a mosaic. And you may want that. You may want grassier, or you may want danker. Like, everybody wants things that are different, but it's good to be aware of those differences across the pick windows.
I think you had a question, right?
So you can see the weather pattern, you get pretty much to get light.
Definitely changes. If you have a year, like the bigger problems out there are smoke.
The smoke takes that. They'll be different. I mean, growing conditions they have that year. Pick windows will change due to what they do. So there's going to be slight differentiation as well. Even smoke taking is the biggest one.
It's not even just the smoke change. A bigger issue is that when they have really dense forest fires out there, it actually deflects sunlight back into space. So it does affect ripening periods, which can affect the intensity of the flavor of the hop.
I will say too, that's one of the reasons, again, for doing a selection is, especially if you have a flagship brand and you want it to taste the same year over year, right? Like, you could go and put these lots in front of you and you might not even want to pick the punchiest one. Maybe you want to pick the one that just fits with your brand. And that's what you're more guaranteeing in that instance, right?
Like I said, you can go to spray, right? You guys see it online. It's got this, and this. It'll still be different from route to route based on those areas. It's not true. It's not those oils. From route to route, they are.
Did anybody else have any other questions? We got two in the front.
We do. Our goal is to get the best that we can, and I think we definitely have farms we work with regularly. Even if it was blind selection, we probably would still end up with the same farm. In fact, we blindly selected we're not great about blind selection anymore. It's impossible. Great. No, okay, once you learn how to do it, like I can look at a table and be like, well, that was grown in Washington, that was Oregon, and that's Idaho. Like it becomes apparent to you in visual inspection after a while. So then you're like, all right, well, I'm with this broker, so this has to be this farm. But so it gets more difficult the more you learn. But yeah, we don't really try to make it the same every year. We want it to just be the best we can make it, and that does tend to fall within a range usually. But you know, it's an agricultural product, so it's just going to be different. I mean,
Generally have that data.
yeah, they have it.
Most of the time, it's available when you're selected.
You look at the lab data and be like, this is going to be a great hop. I don't think anybody can.
I can't. I can look at it and be like, it's close to what I did last year, but when I run it, I'm like, no, that's not real.
Yeah, it's just extra data, but it's not really telling you. It's far from telling you the story.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna make one other big note too, that I just had a conversation with Kristen from Binghamton. But if you wanna come to Yakima, you don't have to select. Like, I have people that came to see me that weren't selecting anything, and I still gave them the whole tour. Like,
Right.
you want to just come to Yakima, and you want to see, Meakin and I did kind of a reverse situation, right? I knew he wanted some lemon drop in Contessa. He didn't have a contract at the time, but showed him some lots, and he said, I like this one and this one, right? Like, we can talk about things like that too. You don't have to necessarily have a contract in place.
It's a great vacation, even if you're not good. Seriously, it's amazing there.
Here.
I just wondered if you guys had any tips how to out there so you can invest in the situation when you get to it.
For me, I can tell you that flying out there, my sinuses get crazy, so I need to fly out early so that by the time I select, I can actually smell things. Don't take ibuprofen the night before. That actually dulls senses too, so don't do that. And I think going with the most open mind that you possibly can is the best thing that I can promise.
I would also say, go see as many suppliers as you can, right? People you do business with, people you don't do business with. Go see as many visits as you can line up. If in an amazing world, if you can spend one whole day with every supplier, that would be awesome. But I don't think that's always the case with everybody. But you know, even just coming in, saying hi, rubbing hop, set up as many appointments as you can.
Also, ask somebody you know for a list of all the best taquerias.
And coffee spots.
Yeah, I have a whole list. Yeah.
It might help also, if you have allergies, you might want to pop a Claritin before you. Yeah, it's real pain in the ass when your nose starts running when you're selecting.
Yeah. What's up?
The thing as you're going out, you have to during April, see like the setup and playing. Does anyone have any success with that during seat? Has anyone gone to see early?
No, but I'm sure you can reach out and ask.
It's the same. We have a grower right here.
I was gonna say, it's fascinating.
He's 15 minutes from you. Seriously.
If you do go to Yakima though during April, it is mind blowing to watch them do this. They drive trucks through the fields. Yes, exactly. They just drive through the field and they're tying knots one-handed as they're driving through the field. Like these guys are incredible.
Do the tacos big?
They're always good. They're always good on that.
I just want to say, if you want to smell more hops, we have the nose just outside here, which is all New York State hops, and you get to rub and smell those and try to identify those hops. And there is a giant nose strip on the
Ooh.
It's actually not even.
So, trophy that giant nose.
What's up?
So my costs, others than brewing the same day. 24 hours, keep them refrigerated, 48, just the same
No,
day.
like 2 hours, really. Like really, just get those like we.
It's 2 hours away.
Well, okay, fine.
Drive fast.
2.5 hours.
Take risks.
Like you should be there when your order is ready, so you can leave as soon as it's ready. And that beer should have been started so that your boil is going right when you get back.
Yeah.
And it's just planning. I mean, it takes a year or two maybe to figure that out, but like,
I say, before, people show up to the brewery with a couple of grocery bags, and they go, yeah, I should take a whole bunch of hops for you.
It doesn't have to be exactly 2 hours. Most of the brewers in the Pacific Northwest live 3 hours from the hop yards at best. So,
Just do a second shift brew.
Yeah.
yeah.
Shift, drive out, come back.
I mean, don't until your growers told you that they've got it, they're picking it. Don't mash in.
Yeah.
That's the dialogue with the farmers is important. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, if we ship you wet hops from Yakima, they're gonna get there the next day. So you're looking at 24 hours, which is fine. But yeah, like I said, if FedEx screws it up, then you're screwed and you have moldy hops. It's not the same, but what you could also consider too, I had this conversation earlier, is like dried leaf hops, right? Like if you want to get that vibe, obviously it's very different than wet, but like dried leaf hops are readily available year round. You probably want to overnight them too from Yakima, but like it's less from a timing consideration. I don't know, maybe you hate me for that, throwing that out there. I don't know, but like leaf hops are cool too, and you can get them.
But also, in New York State, we're in a unique situation because there aren't many other states that can make wet hop beers because they don't have the hop farms, right? Like Virginia can't do it, they just don't have the abundance of hop farms that we have. So should take advantage of the hop farms and hoppers there.
You have beef with Virginia? What particularly?
I don't remember that state.
It's up to your 2 hour.
Sure.
I don't want you to scare him.
Yeah. You can do more than 2 hours. Okay. What? Next day? No, do it at least the same day.
You go a 5-minute drive.
Yeah, you. Boy, it must be nice. All right, I think that's what we got. Clean up.